Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be discussing about today's lead code question, which is find the all duplicates elements which are present in the array. So we are given an array of nums, and then there is an integer which is present. Either it can be once, either it can be repeated once, or it can be twice. So and then we need to return the array of all the integers that appears twice. So we must write the algorithm which runs in big O of n and then should only have big O of 1 as extra space. So the time should be big O of n and then space should be big O of 1. So this is our optimized solution should be. Now can you use brute force solution? Suppose let's take 4. Now we need to check whether this 4 is present or not. So for that I am going to pick this index and then I am going to travel all the elements which are forward to this particular index, and then I am going to check whether the 4 is present in this particular array or not. If it is present, then I am going to add it into my answer. So for 3 I am going to check, yeah, it is present, and then for 2 I am going to check, yeah, it is present. So I am going to add it into my answer. So that is going to take me big O of n square as the time complexity, and then that is not the optimize. So one more approach is, suppose let's take, we'll sort the array, and then after sorting the array we are going to check adjacent elements. Suppose this is the sorted array, so we are going to check 1 and then 1, so both are same, then we are going to add 1 into our answer. So that is one more approach that is going to take us n log n time complexity. And then suppose let's say we want to optimize it better, so then we are going to use the frequency array, so that we are going to check whether this particular number is visited or not. Suppose at the starting I am going to check the frequency will be null, frequency will be 0, so I am going to mark it as 1, and then I am going to check with the 3 is as of now not visited, so I am going to have 0, so now I will mark it as 1, and then whenever I visit 3 I am going to have the frequency, so I am going to push this particular 3 into my array. So that is going to take big O of n time, but the space is going to be big O of n. So now we need to optimize this space as well. So for that we are going to take one more approach where we need to check this particular element is visited or not. For that we are going to use the minus as our weapon. So we are going to use minus as our weapon, so that we'll use that minus in this particular array, and then we are going to check whether it is visited or not. Suppose if it is a positive, then we can say that this is not visited. If it is negative, then we can say that this particular number is visited. Suppose how we need to mark this particular negative as of now. So it is given that it will be ranging from 1 to n. That means it is going to have 1, 2, 3 till n, and then for this particular indexes will be 1, 2, and then till n minus 1. So this is going to be n minus 1. So this is going to be our index. Suppose I want to mark this particular number as visited or not. If it is visited, then I am going to mark 1 minus 1 index will be 0. So I am going to mark this number as minus 1. And then for 2 I am going to mark 2 minus 1, which is going to be this particular index. So I am going to mark this as minus 2. And then for 3 it is going to be minus 3. So like that I am going to mark all the elements whichever number is present, so I am going to mark at that particular index. So let us go through the example where we have 4, 3, 2, and then 1, and then 1, and then 3, and then these indexes is going to be 1 to 5. So for this particular array we are going to take this particular 4, and then we are going to check this particular 4 is visited or not. 4 we are going to check with the 3. So this particular number is not negative, so we are going to say that this particular number is not visited as of now. So we are going to mark this number as visited by keeping this index number as negative. So we are going to keep this number as negative, and then I am going to move to the next iteration, which is going to be 3. For this particular 3, I am going to check this particular 2. Why? Because 3 minus 1 is 2. This 2th index is not negative, then we can say that this particular number is not visited. So we are going to mark it as visited by changing this particular 2 to minus 2, and then we'll move to next number, which is 2, which is minus 2, and then we are going to take the value, not the sign at this particular case. So we are going to consider the absolute value. So absolute value will be 2, and then 2 minus 1 is 1. So for this particular index, we have negative or not? We do not have a negative. That means this particular number is not visited. So we are going to mark it as visited by keeping this particular number as visited by keeping it as minus 1. And then we are going to move to the next number, which is 1. So 1 minus 1 is going to be 0. So we are going to check this particular number. So this is not negative. So this is not visited. So we are going to mark it as visited by keeping minus 4. And then again we are going to come back to the 1 for the next iteration. For this iteration, I am going to check 1 minus 1, which is going to be 0. Zeroth index number is minus 4. So this is negative. Then I am going to say that this particular number is visited. So I am going to add into my answer. And then again I'll come to this particular 3. For this 3, I am going to check 3 minus 1, which is going to be 2 index. 2 index is going to have minus 2, which is negative. That means this particular number is already visited. So I am going to add into my answer. So this is going to be our intuition and then solution. So let us go through the code once. Suppose if we have this particular function where it will calculate all the duplicates which are present in this particular array. So this is going to be my vector answer, and then I am going to take each element which is present in the nums. Suppose let's say if this particular number is negative, then we should take the absolute value. That's why we are considering absolute value of nums, and then we should check whether this particular number is visited or not. This particular number is visited or not by taking the minus to this particular index. So we have seen that if it is 1, then we are going to check with 1 minus 1, which is going to be 0th index. So for this 0th index, for nums minus 1 index, if this particular number is negative, that means this particular number is already visited. Then we are going to add into our answer. And then let's say we want to visit this particular number, then we are going to change the element which is present in this particular index, which is going to be nums I minus 1, and then we are going to mark it as negative, so that we'll keep track of whether this particular number is visited or not. And then at last we are going to return the answer. For this, the time complexity is going to be big O of n, and then the space complexity is going to be big O of 1. And then there is one more solution to bring up with the same thing, which is big O of n time complexity and then space complexity. So I'll be adding into the code in the GitHub, so you can go through that code as well. Yeah, thanks for watching the video. Have a nice day.